Ryan here with Alaska Gear Company. We're at our Palmer manufacturing facility, and this is the location where we make our famed bush wheels. In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to install wheels into a bush wheel, and then also how to uninstall a wheel from a bush wheel. In the first section, we'll demonstrate exactly how to get that wheel in and properly secure it. And then the second part of the video, we'll be introducing a new product from Cole Hawkins of Short Final Fabrication. He's developed a new product to help you efficiently get a wheel out of a tire, and we know that's been a headache for a lot of pilots and mechanics over the years. So we've partnered with him to bring you to this new product and demonstrate how to use it.
Hey guys, Cole with Short Final Fab. Gonna do a quick assembly on some 10650s for the 35s. Gonna get started by putting the bearings back into the wheel races. All right, we're gonna grab the bearings pre-packed, drop it into the race. We've got the two washers we're going to sandwich outside of the felt, drop them in. This is the interior portion, which goes in where the brake disc is. Last thing, we're just going to drop in the snap ring real quick. Get a little bit of an audible click as it drops in, and then we'll just kind of slide it to the side. Make sure that that snap ring is fully engaged in the groove. Same thing on the exterior portion. Bearing goes in packed. And then we're going to drop in the washer. And then we've got the carrier ring with the felt, which is part of your sealing system. And then, last but not least, got the snap ring. Again, just make sure you put that all the way around, a little bit of an audible click. And then we're going to just slide that side to side, make sure that it's fully engaged in the groove. All right, next thing, get yourself soapy water, usually in like a spray bottle is the best way to go. Give it a real healthy dose inside of the bead. And then you just want to rub that around. We're just doing this so we don't get any friction hang-ups. Both sides. Get her nice and soaped up. Okay, and typically I like to put my valve stem interior. Same thing on the wheel, just a nice healthy dose of soap. Move these sideways so we can drop that in. This is going to get set inside. It's not going to want to engage fully, but we'll push it down in to get started. And we'll stand it up. Okay. Same thing. Some soap in there. And then you're just going to line up. I usually only put 3 bolts on the interior just so it's a little bit easier to line up. And then we'll just get these started and then slowly pull them together. There we go. And then I've machined these bushings. They're going to come part as a kit, and a lot of guys use washers with all thread. These are just machined out of a Cittal. It's a machinable plastic. They're a step bushing, so kind of a one size fits all. We have the 1.25 inch for the smaller diameter, and then you have an 1.5 inch for the larger diameter, which is going to work on pretty much any wheel or tire combination. And so we're just going to put these are 1.5 inch, so they'll just snap right into the 1.5 inch. Put one on the other side. And we're going to grab our all thread here. It's going to fit right in the center. And what that's going to do is that's just going to line it up perfectly. We're going to get it threaded on the back side. Okay, so what we've got the wheel engaged in the bead. Everything's soaped up. We've got the 3 bolts started. We've got the 2 bushings, one on each side, interior in the bearing pockets. And then we're just going to very carefully just snug these up until these bolts protrude through, and then we're going to get our nuts started on our bolts and be able to pull the rest of that assembly together. You'll see here in just a second. I'll push these in, and you don't have to put a lot of force on this. Just pull them together, and then it'll actually bottom out when the wheel halves touch. And you don't need to put any more force on it than that. Now you can see all of our bolts, our 3 bolts are protruding through. We're just gonna get these bolted up with the appropriate washers. And then as soon as these are taken up, then we can just relax the pressure on our all thread and remove that. We'll screw that out from the back side. And this piece of all thread is actually what's part of the wheel puller assembly kit. When you remove the wheel with the puller, then you can remove the all thread, install the bushings, and then use it to pull the wheel halves back together. Now we've got these going, we'll start the other ones. We'll get them all pulled together, and then we're gonna set the bead. We're gonna set the bead on the wheel with some air pressure. Biggest thing to remember with this whole process is just taking your time, lots of soap. That way it's real slippery and you're not gonna pinch that interior portion of the tire with the two wheel halves. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna change my size out. We're gonna go to 1/2 inch. We're gonna pull these 3 together and we're gonna do it kind of incrementally. So it just kind of pulls that little last bit together at real straight. Just gotta working my way around. Almost there. A few more turns of the wrench. We'll have her together. All right, that one's tight. Snug up the last 2 here, and then we'll go around the perimeter. All right, swap our tools out here. We can hand tighten any of these more up just to save us some time. All right. There we go. Okay, we'll go opposites. We'll go here, 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 and here. At this point, the wheel's pulled together, but we'll just play it safe. All right, that one, then we'll go opposite. Okay, now. Okay, and the last one. All right, that's assembly complete. We're gonna work on the disassembly now of this 35-inch bush wheel with the 10-650s. First thing we're gonna do is just use a pick, pop the retainer ring out, and I'm gonna pull the bearings out and the seals. It comes out real easy once you get it started. Just pop that ring out, and then just with your finger you can grab the whole assembly. Put it over here on a paper towel to keep it clean. Flip it over, same process. Just pop that retainer ring. Once it's out, just carefully pop it out of there. Whole assembly comes out in your hand. Tire's been deflated now. Always want to have it deflated before we start disassembling the bolts so that thing doesn't bulge out. We're just going to work our way out around the perimeter. Get those first, 7/16, and then we'll go in with a 1/2 inch and remove the larger diameter bolts out of the center. Okay, and we'll just hand take these nuts off all the way around, washers. Okay, now we'll remove the bolts. Okay, now we're going to swap over on our wrenches to 1.5 inches, move the interior section. You don't need to do this disassembly in any specific order. Once the tire's been deflated, you can just take the tension all the way off. All right. We'll get it all the way past where the nylock's disengaged so we can spin them off by hand. Okay, flop her down on her side here. So we're gonna use this new wheel puller that I developed. Makes pulling these wheels out of these 35-inch bush wheels way easier than in the past. So it's very basic. It's got a made cage assembly ring with the leg structure, and then it's got these little toggles that are spring loaded. What they allow you to do is just push basically right through that race, and then they spring out on the back side and lock into the casting. And then, so basically you just drop it through, you'll hear it lock in. You're gonna there's a pretty tight tolerance on the wheel to the interior portion of this ring. So you just want to kind of keep an eye on that and make sure you're not pulling that wheel up into the edge of that ring. And it just, sometimes you got to recenter it a couple times. And then you're just going to use a 3/4 inch wrench, which you got right here. We'll do the take up by hand, get it nice and centered. Now, one thing to note is this is a brand new tire. We just assembled this for the video. It is going to come out easier than one that has been on an aircraft for a long time, being run hard and put away wet. You don't need to this thing will just rip this wheel right out of here, but there's no reason to overdo it. Just slowly take up the tension, let the wheel start pulling, and the rubber will slowly start to relax. You'll actually hear some audible squeaks and creaks and stuff like that. And again, the biggest thing is just make sure it's centered. Everything looks good. I'm just gonna start cranking. And it's slowly pulling it up. I can hear it. It's going to come out in just a sec. This one didn't even make much noise. And actually, the bolts are still engaged in this one, so it's going to take a minute. That one, we'll just put it on here. Whole thing will come out in your hand. Now, these bolts held it up longer. Normally those will slip right out and then the whole thing will just kind of pop. Then we'll release this here and then we'll do the other side. You're just gonna spin this all the way off because that toggle is in from the back side. It's just easier to go ahead and undo this nut. Pull the washer off. Set the whole wheel assembly down. Go ahead, just reinstall it. Throw the friction washer in there. That just way your nut doesn't mar up your aluminum on top. We're gonna just flip this guy over. Same basic procedure. Toggles go right in, center. They snap right in. Pull it up with your hand, tighten the nut up by hand. Real basic, real simple. And then we're just gonna line this up. Same thing, get that wheel centered up in that ring. Make sure we're not gonna have any hang-ups. And then just crank her on up. And that one came out real easy. There it is. Easy peasy. Make your life a whole lot more simple.